Okay, we're going to be working on fractions, guys. And fractions aren't as tough as they seem. The one thing you need to do is get familiarized with what fractions can look like. And fractions can only look like this number slash number. It can look like a 0.5, 0.50, 50%. All of that is part of a whole number. So we need to realize that we need to get to know everything about fractions and not just the slash. Also, fractions, you need to look at them as a division problem, because the number in the denominator, I'm sorry, trying to rush here, will divide into the numerator. And so please take time to practice. Write 1/2 your more common fractions, not all of them, like 1/2, 1/3, 1/4, and write them out in a way that you can see what they can be in other forms. Now I've got some practice problems here like I have promised, and I am trying to do a lot of things and rush this in too, so excuse me if I mess up, and I'm messing up a lot. Here we go. I think I got it now. Make sure we got our pen working. Go ahead and pause the video if you want, work out the problems, and then come back and I'll work them with you through the video. The first thing is I'm going to do a real quick review on fractions. When you're adding and subtracting them only, take this note. You need to have the same denominator. And the denominator is the bottom number right here, like the 3 and the 2. They need to be the same. And there's several ways that we can do that. We can know automatically what they both go into. Or we can just take the bottom numbers and our fractions and multiply them, like 2 times 3, and find it automatically. And we can do this with small numbers. It works out very well. You can do it with all numbers, but you don't want huge numbers. And find that we have 6 that they both go into. Secondly, we need to know what we're supposed to do with this. And I have this little thing where I put like a division and then multiply at top on each fraction, division and multiply. And I'm not going to show this every time. This is just a review on the first one. And all we have to do at this point is read across. And 3 divides into 6 how many times? That is 2 times. And then we need to read across. 2 times 2 is 4. Excuse the writing, guys. Do the same thing here. How many times does 2 go into 6? And 2 goes into 6 3 times. And that's going to be 1 times 3. And that's 3. You got to remember this is addition. And now what we need to do is just drop the denominator because we don't do anything with it. We already found it. And add the top numbers. And there we go. We have finished it. It's not hard at all. It's just a matter of practice. This is not a very good fraction, but we're not going to worry about it right now. But some teachers want you to go ahead and put it in correct form because that actually turn into a whole and then something else. So we'll do that later in later lessons. Right now we're just learning how to find the common denominators. Okay, right here. I don't like this red very much. I think I'm going to go ahead and just switch to black. And we can figure it out. Here we have your bottom denominators is a 2 and a 5. What can they both go into? Luckily, the lowest one is going to be 10. And it works out to be 2 times 5 is 10. So that works out great. To show you the example of what I was meaning, how you can find a common denominator if you don't know what they are. It's just a number that they both work into. And then we want to make sure, and I'm not going to do this every time, but it's going to be divide, multiply, divide on bottom, multiply, multiply. How many times does 5 go into 10? And that's twice. And 6 times 2 is 12. Okay? How many times 2 go into 10? And that's 5 times, right? And 3 times 5 is 15. At this point, all we have to do is bring down our denominator, which is 10, and add our top numbers. And 5 plus 2 is 7. And 1 plus 1 is 2. Again, we would want to put this fraction in correct form in most cases, but today we're not going to worry about it. Excuse the marks, guys. Okay, and here's another one. What can these numbers both go into? Can they both go into 2? No, because 4 is bigger. Can they both go into 4? And luckily we found it right away again. And yes, they can. That's the answer. So we're going to use 4 for our denominator. How many times does 4 go into 4? 1 time. And 1 times 1 is 1. How many times does 2 go into 4? Twice. And 2 times 8 is 16. Now all we have to do is drop our denominator and add. Okay. We're not even going to worry about reducing right now. That'll be in another video. That's where you can reduce your fraction down to the lowest form. Okay, now we're going with a little bit bigger numbers. We have a 22 and 11 for our denominator. So what can we find for our common? Well, 11 can go in itself and it can go into 22. So we're going to use 22. How many times does 22 go into 22? Once. So that's going to be a 2. How many times does 11 go into 22? And that's twice. So 2 times 1 is 2. Now all we have to do is drop our denominator, which is 22, and add our top numerators, which is 4. And this is reducible. Okay? Forgot to put my plus there. We can reduce this. And I'm going to go ahead and show you once, so that if you want to do it later, you can. This is an even number, so the quick way of saying this is how many times will 2 go into these numbers? And 2 will go into 4 twice, and 2 will go into 22 11 times, right? So it's going to be 2 over 11 reduced. And this is the form that most teachers want to see. Okay, on to our next one. You'll see fractions written out like this, and I think it's better if you put them up and down, but you don't have to. But I like to do it up and down, so that's the way I'm going to do it. Now, all we have to do here is find our common denominator. That's your bottom numbers that they both go into. Can they both go into 9? No. Can they both go into 10? No. So that's what I mean by that. But we can multiply the bottom numbers to find it quickly. What's 3 times 7? And it's 21. So we found a common denominator, right? How many times does 7 go into 21? 3 times. And 3 times 2 is 6. Put our plus here. 3 goes into 21 7 times, and 7 times 6 is 42. Now all we have to do is drop our common denominator and add those together. We're not going to worry about the form. We're just going to leave it as it is. And go ahead and start working the next problem. This one's easy, isn't it? Our common denominator, 9, 3 times 3 can equal 9, can it? So we can use 9 as a denominator. And 3 goes into 9 3 times, and 3 times 2 is 6. 9 goes into 9 1 time, and 4 times 1 is 4. Drop your denominator. Just add these together. Okay, where do I go next? Oh yeah, over here. Okay, let's see. I think I have a couple more practice problems. If you want to pause the video, please do. Up and down is better. That's why I did this, so maybe I can get you into the habit of knowing that the better form when you're struggling with fractions is the way that I'm writing them out right now, and that's where they're above and below one another. What's our common denominator here? Well, we can go ahead and not even have to multiply these together. We could use 18 if we wanted to, but that would just make more work for us. So if you know already what it is, it's going to be 6, because 6 can go into itself and 3 can go into 6 as well. So we go ahead and write our 6 as our denominator. 6 goes into 6 one time, and 1 times 3 is 3. 3 goes into 6 twice, and 2 times 2 is 4. And we're going to go ahead and bring down our denominator so we don't forget. And there we go. Let's do this last one. And if you haven't tried it for yourself yet, please try. I hope we have room. I wrote that too big. We're going to do it. This is addition. I'll do a subtraction one next. Luckily, I bet you figured it out, because you're finally starting to get it. We can use 12 as our common denominator, as our lowest common denominator. And 12 can go into 12 once, and 1 times 1 is 1. 6 can go into 12 twice, and 2 times 5 is 10. Now we just drop our denominator, which is 12. Add those together, and we get 11 over 12. Yay, a fraction we wouldn't have to mess with if we were doing that way. All right, guys, please like and subscribe if you like my classes and my lessons that I share with you. And thank you for watching. Good luck with math.